These are three elite Formula One drivers who desperately begged for Fernando Alonso's seat, only to walk away completely disinterested just 24 months later when the British team's on-track performance declined. The year 2024 brought absolute chaos to the Formula One driver market. As Formula One reported, Lewis Hamilton shocked the entire motorsport community by announcing his move to Ferrari. And that single decision sent everyone scrambling for a competitive drive. Aston Martin sat right at the top of the highly desired list. The Silverstone-based squad boasted a massive budget, a state-of-the-art wind tunnel, and, according to Honda, an exclusive Honda engine partnership arriving in 2026. Carlos Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda, and Esteban Ocon all circled the team like sharks. They viewed the green car as their golden ticket to World Championship glory. Team owner Lawrence Stroll held all the cards during those frantic spring months. He could pick almost anyone on the grid to partner his son, Lance Stroll. Instead of capitalizing on that enormous advantage, the Canadian billionaire slammed the door shut. As announced in an Aston Martin F1 press release, management handed Fernando Alonso a heavy multi-year extension in April 2024, keeping the Spanish veteran racing well into his mid-40s. That signature effectively locked the rejected trio out of the project. By February 24, 2026, the entire narrative flipped completely upside down. Aston Martin tumbled down the constructors' standings. Their car development went totally backwards, while McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes surged ahead. Even the high-profile acquisition of legendary aerodynamicist Adrian Newey failed to instantly fix their fundamental track issues. The exact seat that sparked an intense bidding war 2 years ago turned into a poisoned chalice. That is exactly when the situation shifted permanently. Carlos Sainz stood out as the biggest prize on the open market after Sky Sports reported Ferrari unceremoniously dropped him. The Spanish race winner needed a top-tier destination, and Aston Martin offered the perfect landing spot. His management team pushed hard for the seat right next to Lance Stroll. Stroll Sr.'s priority was always retaining his lead driver, and Alonso proactively signed an extension to remain firmly planted in the garage. That rejection stung deeply at the time. The revenge came swiftly and silently. Sainz pivoted his entire focus toward Williams, a historic team actively climbing up the competitive order under James Vowles. Sitting at exactly 0 points of regret today, Sainz watches his former desired team struggle to escape the lower midfield. He secured a long-term home built entirely around his specific driving style. When rumors surfaced recently about the Green Team reaching back out, the Spaniard reportedly ignored the approach entirely. His current setup provides far more stability than the unpredictable environment over at Silverstone, and that reality makes his initial rejection look like an absolute blessing in disguise. If you want to catch more breaking motorsport stories like this one, hit the subscribe button right now. We track these crazy grid movements every single week. Now, back to the Honda engine drama. Yuki Tsunoda represented the most logical fit for the upcoming regulation changes. Honda officially takes over as Aston Martin's exclusive power unit supplier starting this season in 2026, and the Japanese manufacturer openly backs Tsunoda's career. Industry insiders assumed the young driver would naturally transition into the green overalls. Alonso signing that long extension completely destroyed those carefully laid plans. The rejection forced Tsunoda to reevaluate his entire trajectory within the Red Bull family. He initially doubled down on his performances at Visa Cash App RB, systematically beating his teammates week after week, before transitioning to a reserve driver role for 2026. By the time Aston Martin finally realized they might actually need a younger prospect to handle the simplified new hybrid systems, Tsunoda completely lost interest. The Honda connection no longer justified abandoning his current momentum. He built an incredibly strong foundation where he currently races, proving that raw talent outlasts corporate partnerships. Aston Martin assumed they could just whistle and he would come running, which turned out to be a fatal miscalculation by the management team. Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly desperately wanted out of the absolute nightmare unfolding at Alpine during the early stages of 2024. The French squad built an overweight, uncompetitive tractor of a car. Aston Martin looked like a shining oasis in the middle of that professional desert. Both drivers sent out feelers through their agents, practically begging for a chance to audition for the seat. Management ignored those frantic calls, betting everything on their existing lineup. 24 months later, the tables turned completely. Ocon secured his future elsewhere, finding refuge in a project that actually listens to driver feedback. Aston Martin now struggles with the exact same developmental black holes that plagued Alpine 2 years prior. Their factory produces upgrades that actively make the car slower on track. Neither French driver shows even a fraction of a percent of interest in jumping into that chaotic environment today. The shiny green paint simply cannot hide the deep structural flaws currently dragging the team backward down the starting grid. Lawrence Stroll believed money could instantly solve all his aerodynamic problems. The billionaire famously opened his checkbook and signed legendary designer Adrian Newey to a massive contract. Pundits immediately declared Aston Martin the undisputed winners of the decade. They expected top-tier talent to suddenly come knocking on the factory doors again, begging for a chance to drive a Newey-designed machine. That anticipated stampede never actually materialized. Formula One operates on a timeline of years, not days. The new car regulations require intense integration, and a single genius engineer cannot instantly override a fundamentally broken development pipeline. Drivers look at the current telemetry data and see a car struggling with correlation to the simulator numbers. At many of the recent race weekends, the team failed to match their strong qualifying pace during the actual Sunday events. The rejected drivers track these specific failure rates closely. They understand that driving a struggling car destroys market value, regardless of whose name appears on the technical director's office door. This massive shift in driver market movements exposes a brutal truth about modern Formula One. You cannot simply buy prestige and expect elite athletes to wait around for your project to succeed. Aston Martin spent hundreds of millions of dollars building the most advanced wind tunnel in Europe, yet they alienated the exact talent pool required to maximize that expensive hardware. The team now faces a very serious succession crisis. Fernando Alonso continues to defy human biology out on the track, but Father Time remains undefeated, and Alonso's impending retirement will eventually leave an incredibly large vacuum inside the garage. When that inevitable departure happens, Lawrence Stroll will suddenly discover a completely barren marketplace. The elite competitors who currently possess the raw skill to win world championships are tightly locked into long-term contracts with serious contenders. McLaren secured their youthful future. Ferrari established an absolute super team. Williams operates with clear, undeniable forward momentum. Aston Martin will likely need to settle for an untested rookie or a fading midfield journeyman to pilot their incredibly expensive Honda-powered machines. This entire saga stands as a permanent warning to every ambitious racing outfit on the current grid. Arrogance during peak performance windows leads directly to total isolation when the track results inevitably fade. Despite signing capable, proven champions when the car looked fast, the management team found themselves struggling when the aerodynamic package completely failed. The sport punishes short-sighted decisions with ruthless efficiency, and the Green Team currently pays the ultimate price for their previous overconfidence in the paddock. Lawrence Stroll bought the factory, the engines, and the legendary designer, but he forgot you cannot buy driver loyalty. We are watching a billion-dollar lesson unfold in real time. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe for more grid updates.